Hello, everyone. This is Chris Sensei with WMMA Mania Flashback Friday. I want to take you back. Just envision where were you in 2012 when the UFC had their first women bout, the first MMA women bout of the history of the UFC. Of course, other promotions had women's MMA, but this was just one of the most iconic fights in UFC history, period, regardless of gender. So just envision, where were you in 2012 when Ronda Rousey took on Liz Carmouche and held the first title in the women's division? Mind you, there was only one division. They only had the bantamweight division. Yet, how far has women's MMA gone? I mean, 2012, that wasn't too long ago. Now they have, besides the bantamweight, they have flyweight, they have strawweight. Some other promotions have bantamweight, and of course the UFC recently had their featherweight, which is kind of depleted, but hey, it's still running, so that's good. And I just want to see if you have certain type of memories when that fight happened. For me personally, I remember being at my uncle's house, and even though everyone criticized, oh, two women shouldn't be fighting, he was like, it's gonna be an all-out war because men usually they'll conserve their energy, but he was telling me, listen, before we watch this fight, you're gonna see them go at it. It's gonna be relentless. Every second of this fight is gonna be punches, and I mean, he was right. He was right. It lived to the hype. I mean, constantly, I saw like punches, the striking, this relentless type of attitude, and people thought it was gonna be the opposite. Like just awful comments. People would say, "What if they can't take the punch?" If they start crying. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it. So women's MMA is the opposite of what people thought it would turn out to be. It's definitely trailblazing, not just women's MMA, but women in sports. I think is the most equal in terms of performances, in terms of the excitement. I mean, it's an amazing sport, and women are taking over this sport, and they're being encouraged at a very young age to take a jiu-jitsu class, to take a wrestling class. I think that women's MMA actually promoted promoted young girls to compete in in many aspects and many forms of fighting, of combat. Because the whole notion about you know is for boys, right? The boys are the rough one, and the girls are more finesse and stuff like that. That whole that whole gender role, if you will. You know what I mean? And it's false, because girls that can fight, they should fight. They're talented like any other sport, and I just feel MMA is doing dividends for society. For girls and women and women's role, their role in society, but also what it's doing is not just promoting one sport, because MMA technically is one sport, but there's so many forms of fighting in it, and I think obviously at a very young age, doesn't matter the gender, you really can't compete MMA fully, but you can pick up wrestling, or jujitsu and etc. or boxing. And one thing I'm noticing that before girls wrestling, especially at like high school or like on the club level, like traveling team, the age 6 to 8 to 10, you basically would had boys. Growing up, I only see boys compete, but now I'm seeing a lot of girls team, and I think that's just tremendous. And we should give a lot of credit to MMA. I think MMA is just doing well, and it's helping out just develop these amazing girls and women in the sport, and it's definitely promoting equality. Let me know what you think on the comments. But that's my take, and it's just incredible how far women's MMA has gone. And that's my flashback. 2012, when the UFC had their first women's bout. Share your favorite flashback in women's MMA. I'll definitely like to hear it. This is Chris Placencia with WMMA Mania. Stay tuned and see you next time.